Are live. Welcome everyone
Yes.
to today's session. Hopefully, let's wait for people to join in the chat and say hi. And how are you guys? Let me move things a little bit. Oh, now you guys have two backgrounds again. This is on
Yeah,
our
doing
last
good, doing good.
Yes, on our last session we had we had Kroon and Sai, and they had the same background, and this time it's like consistency. It's all about consistency in the community.
Consistency is the key.
But whoever is here, guys, join in the chat, say hi, don't be shy, and tell us where you're joining from and what time is it now. Because last time somebody joined at like 4 a.m. and I was like, wow, that is awesome.
That's crazy. I love the dedication. And yeah, we have responses already.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, we'll
yeah.
have people joining. We'll want to wait for everyone to join before we share the slides because it's going to be packed with value. We've been working about with these slides for like a month. We've been preparing all the resources, and at the end of the event today, you're going to receive the guide, the full guide that we promised. So get excited, and let's see where you
We
guys
have
joining from.
people
Canada.
from Canada, Raleigh. I'm from Colombia. They're just 3 hours drive.
Oh, Sweden, 3 in the night. I love that.
Oh wow. Oh, are you not sleeping because of the event or because you're going out today?
We coming back.
Yes, that's awesome. We have an international crowd, super excited. Michigan is 9 p.m. Awesome. So many folks from US. I love
5
it.
a.m. Nice, Rohan.
Hey,
That's
nice
awesome.
one. I'm from Kerala, Kochi.
That's so
Kochi.
cool.
Okay.
Fellow
Also,
Malun host, yeah.
yes, because we're streaming on three different platforms today. On I think so. We have Sai streaming on his platform right now, right? And we have
Yes.
Sohan. Sohan's also streaming on LinkedIn. And we have YouTube. We're streaming on YouTube too. So this is crazy. It's the first time we're streaming on three people's platforms. This is awesome. Uh, there's some
We got
folks
a
that.
global audience, guys.
Sorry, what is it?
We got a global audience over here. It's like people from Canada, Istanbul, Sweden, India, all over the place.
I love it. I love it. Yes, in India it's like 7:30
7:30.
a.m. So on a Sunday, right? It's Sunday.
Yes, it's Sunday.
Beautiful. Because we were thinking when to put the timing for this event, and people were like 7:30 a.m. is too early for India. Maybe like we should do it later. But I'm like, no, I know people in India can make it.
Yes.
7 a.m.
Kochi,
Awesome.
Pakistan. Nice, nice. Dallas. So you're from India too.
Cool. Yours is there. Great. So before we get started, let's do a little bit of an icebreaker. I'm curious, guys, what type of coffee you drink, if at all. What fuels you in the morning? You guys can start first. I want the experts actually need to know. This is a secret that we never talked about.
Quite honestly, I don't think this is going to be like a common choice, but I mostly go for like an espresso first thing in the morning. Is I need my black coffee, and that has been like the case for the last 10 years now. Right?
Wow, black
Except
espresso.
Mm.
That's crazy.
I started
Nice.
drinking coffee after I moved to States. It's been 1.5 years since I started. After I started working, so I usually have French vanilla coffee in the morning. That's all. Yeah, just to keep me awake all the day.
Wow. Okay, no
Nice.
milk, guys.
Nice.
Okay.
For me, I have this specific coffee that I like. For some reason, it's the only coffee that I like. It's a brew coffee. It's from home. There's an Indian store here that carries it. I go once a month just to get that thing. And yeah, that's the only sort of black coffee I drink.
What the hell? I am friends with people that don't drink oat milk. I mean,
I've tried it, but nah.
wow. Okay, I'm kind of in shock now, but I'll recover. Yeah, I love oat milk. I mean, I
Oh,
love oat
hey
milk
Viraj.
latte. That's what I drink. Awesome. How about you guys? Do you drink coffee at all? Because this is a big culture in US at least. Everyone drinks coffee. But all right, let's see. hide this one. Okay, cool. So today, let me know, guys, if the music is not too loud. This is the first time we're trying out the music in the background. But if not, we'll turn it off once the presentation is on. But okay, yeah, it's possible to stop the music. Of course, it is. Of course, yes. Yeah, this was the intro. So, welcome everyone. Today, we are going to talk about one of the most requested questions actually in the community, which is getting callbacks from hiring managers, from recruiters. And these days, number one problem is actually getting an interview. And people think that it's passing the interview or getting ready for the interview, but actually, your first job is landing an interview. And that's why today we gathered the experts in the data analytics field. And we're going to talk about business intelligence and data analytics as a whole. And this way you can understand what are the practical things that you can do to actually land several interviews and get a higher chance of landing a job in 2025. So we prepared a lot of things and we can get started now. What do you guys think? Should we get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. So I did want to let you know, guys, you are welcome to ask questions. Every other slides, we're going to give you a chance to ask a follow-up question on the slides. So be active in the chat and help each other out if anyone, because we're not be able to go through everyone's questions. We're going to pick the most relevant. So feel free to answer to each other about your own experiences because this is a community again, and it's a great time to also meet folks here too. We have 200 people live at the moment, 225. So yeah, let's get started. So today we'll talk about increasing callbacks for analytics roles. And today we have an amazing panel that most of you already know. We've been talking about this on LinkedIn. So if you haven't seen that, it's time to connect with everyone else. So today we have Sohan Sethi. He's a business analyst and he had an interesting journey that he shares on LinkedIn, how he came to US and got a job and is now helping so many people do the same thing. And he'll be talking about business intelligence today as well. And our next mentor and coach is Sai. And he probably has the longest name in our entire community. So I'm not going to say the whole thing. We call him Sai. You can call him Coach Sai. So, yeah. Hi, Sai. How are you? I just gonna. I hope you guys are not muted. Just checking. Cool. And then we have Karun. Karun has like the most number of people that reaches out to him on TopMate. I think he's like one of the top 5 mentors on TopMate, if I'm not mistaken. Is that true, Karun?
I don't think that's an official ranking, but yeah, there in the list apparently.
Awesome. Yes. I was
He's
like,
the outlier.
that is some dedication. Yes.
Yes.
And guys, if you don't know already, this is an initiative from Break Into Data. It's absolutely free. And we have these weekly events and monthly panels like this one, where we bring the experts from the field and share for everyone who's trying to break into data fields, including data analytics, data science, machine learning, and artificial intelligence engineering. So stay tuned for all of our events. And most importantly, we are launching our exclusive community where you can ask questions to our experts directly and build your own network. So this is one of the exciting things that we're doing for the end before the end of the year. So stay tuned, and if you do want to get connected and apply for the first 50 people in the community, then you feel free to join the waitlist. Oops, we will give you more information later on. So let's get started with our presentation.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So yeah, starting off with the question that everybody has, which is what does it take to actually land a callback in this uh, sort of 2025 kind of noisy job market. So these are the four things that we believe helps you sort of stand out in the current market and get a call back. This is based on our experience of our mentees. So the first and most important thing is having a portfolio. Hiring managers are looking for specific skills. We'll share the skill set that hiring managers are looking for in a data analyst as well as a business analyst, and building a portfolio that sort of reflects the skill set that HMs are looking for is going to be 50%, almost 50% of the reason why you get a callback. So that's the first thing that we are going to be focusing on. The next is having a good resume, and resume in the sense the PDF that you construct and sort of apply with on job boards, and as well as the sort of resume that you present on LinkedIn. So, sort of tailoring both in such a way that you can sort of improve the chances of being found when recruiters search for candidates on LinkedIn, as well as making sure that you can apply to a huge number of roles without tailoring your PDF version of your resume again and again, at the same time meeting the ATS bar. How can you manage all of that? We'll be covering that in the session. And then the sort of the other 50%, which is networking in the current job market. Without a referral, it's going to be very, very hard to land a job. And you need somebody in the company to ideally not just refer you, but maybe even reach out to the hiring manager for you. So, what are the systems or mechanisms that we use, that our mentees use to hopefully get more referrals to improve the chances of when you send out those connection messages on LinkedIn, the response rate for those connection messages, how can you increase that? Those strategies we'll be discussing in the session. And finally, an overall strategy based on where you are right now. What should I be doing next? What kind of roadmap should I be following? How much time should I be spending? Are there any sort of metrics that I should be aiming to meet? How should I be reflecting on my work thus far? All of that we'll be covering in the session as well. And yeah, feel free to start dropping your questions to each of these four topics in the chat, and I'll hand over to Sohan.
Awesome. So, yeah, the question is, what is analytics? Well, firstly, analytics is huge, especially in 2024, right? But we are aiming for these two roles, which is a business analyst and a data analyst. So, starting with a business analyst, how I love explaining my job to people is like a business analyst is usually the gap between the IT teams and the business stakeholders. So, like a business analyst job is to bridge that gap and help the IT team correspond with the business teams and vice versa. And on a day-to-day level, what I usually do is just to gather insights, interpret data, solve business problems, and actually recommend solutions so that it can lead to the success of my organization. So that's the job of a business analyst as a whole, just bridging that gap. Now, while a business analyst digs into data at a very surface level, data analyst actually goes very deeper. And a data analyst job is actually to just go into a very micro level and understand the various patterns, the trends, the tons of insights that any data or any data set can actually help the team or a business make informed business decisions and actually lead to the growth of organizations. So that's in a nutshell what's the difference between a business analyst and a data analyst. But let's go to the next slide, please, Mary. All right. So everything that you see on the screen over here, I just got it from Google, and I'm sure you can as well. So just that's quite redundant. But speaking about my job on a day-to-day basis as a business analyst, and what does a normal project involve, or what does a hiring manager look for into a business analyst? So let's assume that I go to Monday to office, and my manager has asked what he will be doing is like just reaching out to me, and he'll just explain the problem. So my job starts from that very step, and it basically involves like gathering the requirements. A business analyst has to be highly proficient in gathering the requirements, documenting them as well. So that's the first step. Once the business analyst has a very clear understanding of what the requirements are, the next step is usually communicating with the stakeholders. Many a times, the requirement would be a very business one. So you would have to reach out to the business team. Once that you reach out to the business team, you will have to go into the technical aspects. Then you will reach out to someone who is into analytics, maybe or someone who is like a data engineer or a data analyst. So that is usually how it goes forward. Once you have communicated with the stakeholders, next you would be actually doing problem solving, and that's when you would look for the large scale solution. Then comes the implementation part, where it would be basically like analyzing through SQL, Power BI, Tableau, Python, whatever the tools that you would use as a business analyst. And once that is done, the last step is usually just delivering those requirements, and actually making sure that your manager or your stakeholders have a very clear understanding of what you have actually done. So that's pretty much the processes or the steps involved in the life of a business analyst. And as you know, like the major skills that the hiring managers are looking right now in the market are SQL, any data visualization tool, which would be Tableau or Power BI. Next, for data analysis, maybe go for Python or R. And Microsoft Excel is just a great tool to be having knowledge of. So those are the technical skills. And on the soft skills side, definitely problem solving, gathering requirements, and communicating with stakeholders. There's also a little bit of negotiation involved when you are dealing with timelines. But those, in a nutshell, are the skills that the hiring managers are looking for from a business analyst in 2024. Can we go to the next slide, please, Mary? All right. So now that we have understanding of what are the skills that are required, let's actually move forward with building those skills and learning those skills and actually displaying them to your potential employer. What we have over here is set of sample projects which I have personally done, and we have included a very detailed, comprehensive information in the PDF that you guys would be getting as well. But yeah, let's just look at the major skills required are SQL, Python, Excel, Tableau, Power BI, and I love a starter Python project, which is the heart disease prediction. What it involves is basically just doing analysis on a data set of heart patients, and once you like give that sample data, you would actually be building an ML model and predicting what patients are at the risk of heart attack based upon factors such as heart rate, blood pressure, maybe diabetes, does that person smoke, etc. So that's a really good starter project in Python, and I would highly recommend that. The second one is an airline comparison analysis in Tableau. This project basically involves like analyzing the flight data of various airlines, and finally you can build beautiful visualizations and get to the point where you would actually determine which airline has the most flights delays based upon factors such as what were the reasons that led to the airline being delayed. It could be weather, it could be maintenance issues, it could be some like something happened at the airport, like with flight delay, etc. So that's a good Tableau project. A SQL project is layoff analysis. This could involve data cleaning as well as EDA, and you would be looking at what were the companies that laid off most employees, say in 2022. What were the sectors that usually laid off? What was the size of the company? What industry they were in? How many employees were laid off? So that's a good SQL project. And finally, this is my favorite project, which is like the loan default analysis using SQL and Power BI, where you would be just cleaning some data in SQL and then visualizing that using Power BI, and it would involve customer segmentation, as well as understanding of customer behavior and determining what customers are actually going to be defaulting on their loans based upon multiple factors such as income, their credit history, etc. So those are some projects that are awesome projects actually to have into your portfolio. Now once you have included them, how we go ahead and with documenting them is usually write a brief goal, what I just spoke about, then finally summarizing the data set, the tools involved, which is like Python, SQL, Power BI, etc., and finally documenting the workflows, the SQL queries if you can, maybe some dashboard that you have made. So that is what you can include in a project summary. Now, how do we showcase that? Is usually using code from on GitHub. That is the most preferred, I would say, platform, that where you can just showcase your projects. And finally, maybe showcasing them using Tableau Public, your dashboards, or maybe PowerPoint. Just kidding, no one uses PowerPoint in 2024, but of course, you can just give it a try. So yeah, that's actually how what a business analyst is, what are the skills the hiring managers are looking for, and how you can actually learn those skills and project them to your potential employers. So that is everything in a nutshell. But we can quickly open for some questions maybe for the next 2 minutes. So if you have any questions, just go for it.
Yes, I actually was eyeing on one when you were talking. I think this is an interesting question that we can take now. What
Mhm.
do you think about this? Siddharth is asking, for technical person, how does one gain a business knowledge for a business analyst? Because in data science, I know there is product sense type of questions. Is there a same in business intelligence?
Absolutely. So, hey, Siddharth. Firstly, a great question. Um, quite frankly, just speaking from my personal experience over here, this has been the biggest challenge when I joined my current organization. So, I work in healthcare, and healthcare business is very complex to say the least. And I just had to understand tons of business processes, what's going on in like how the business is making money, how things are working, what are the various segments that the business is involved in, what are the customers buying, and finally what are the revenue streams. So that's what I really struggled with. But quite frankly, it came from experience for me, and that is like the long process. But what I would recommend after following, maybe learning from that process, is just when you start, make sure that you engage in discussions or conversations with as many non-technical stakeholders as possible. For example, say for example, in my case, if I work on a technical team, I would actually go ahead and have a conversation, just to start a conversation with someone who is actually like an insurance provider, who actually does more work in the field, or who actually is communicating with the customers on a day-to-day basis. If that is something which is not in your case, maybe go and speak with your manager or someone who's been in the company for like the 10 or 20 years of a time period. So that is what I would recommend. And just by building with conversations, maybe documenting their learnings, learning from other people's experience, that would be the best case, apart from, of course, something that your employer gives you in the beginning to learn about. So yeah,
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for responding for that question. We can go next, but we have I think like we have so many questions. Should we take like a few at once? Maybe like two at least.
Yep.
yeah, of course.
It's interesting. I thought Karun was asking a question, and we have like another Karun. is,
My bad. I was trying to
Clone?
reply on
Was
YouTube.
that,
it your AI clone?
is this
I
you,
was Yeah, I was trying to reply on YouTube. My bad.
Oh, okay. This seems like more like a question than a response, but okay. If so, how does BA differ in the industry from DA in few words, if you may?
Of course. So yeah, just to summarize, in actually a very simple manner, uh, a business analyst is someone who's obviously like someone more involved with the business side of things, and they would be making recommendations to like towards. To support the success of the business, but so will a data analyst. But the most simple difference between the both of them is like a BA would be digging into data on a very surface level, but a data analyst goes all deep and they just understand trends, patterns, and whatnot. So a BS job is very on a surface level. From a data perspective, a data analyst goes all in. So that would be my major difference.
Awesome. Great. Let's get to the next slide.
Awesome. Uh, now that you have seen what a BA does and what are the skills required for BA, let's get into DA, which is data analyst. Both of them, like they might look similar, but then they do have some differences, and sometimes a BA and DA might do the same work depending on the company, and then they might do extremely different work depending on the company and the project they're in again. So at a surface level, like what Sohan has told was absolutely true. So coming to data analyst, what does the project involve? So we start with we get requirement from our stakeholders. It can be your manager, or sometimes if it's a startup, you can get from your C-suite people directly, like what is happening during this year on this data. So you get like a single statement. Sometimes it might be very vague, but then you got to dig in, have multiple meetings with stakeholder and understand requirements first. Then you pull data from different sources, like sometimes SQL, sometimes it can be in cloud, sometimes it can be text data which is lying in emails you might have to extract. So it's never clean data. So make sure to like it, it won't be anywhere near to the projects that we are working while we are learning, so it will be completely opposite the data you see. So get ready for spending 80% of your time on data cleaning and data gathering. And once you clean the data and gather the data, you'll start working on the reports based on the requirements you get from your stakeholders. And like it can be built in Excel sometimes if your C-suite, or like the end product is Excel, you might use Excel, or sometimes they're fine with BI reports too, or Tableau reports, or sometimes you would also use BI tools available in the cloud like AWS and Azure also have BI tools inbuilt in them. So depending on the organization and the licensing you have, you would use Tableau, Power BI, or any BI tool to make a report or dashboard. Then last but not the least comes the storytelling part and recommendations part. We don't focus much on this while we are doing projects, but then in the in the real world projects, it's very important. That's what sets you apart. Like cleaning data, building a dashboards can be learned by doing a course, but then coming out of a story using the data, in using the by finding the insights from the data is very important. Like uh, combining different chunks of the data and then making it a compiling story, that so that your stakeholders can understand, and giving some recommendations based on what you have found. Like did you see an increase, or did you see a drop in the data, or uh, defining the why behind it, and how did it happen, why did it happen, and what you need to do. That's where recommendations come in. So based on the story you tell, insights you found, you would give some recommendations, and based on that, businesses implement new strategies to make more money, or to decrease the loss, or to save time, depending on the project and the scope of it, and how difficult or how expensive are the recommendations to implement. So, and coming to what skills are required and what hiring managers look for, technical skills, SQL, Excel, BI tool, Python. So coming to SQL, you might not use SQL at your work, but you will be asked questions on SQL for sure, so never ignore it. And coming to Excel, you might not see that in your interviews, but you will use Excel for sure in your work, so it's vice versa. So the end product in most data projects might be Excel, because most people might not know how to use a BI dashboard. So you'll be asked to, can you convert this to an Excel sheet, simply like a single Excel sheet. So this is the most asked ad hoc report that I see at my work at least. So, and a BI tool, knowledge on BI tool, it can be Power BI, Tableau, or any BI tool. The skills are transferable. Like don't worry about, should I learn Power BI? Should I learn about Tableau? I see a poll every day on my LinkedIn feed for sure. Python versus R, Power BI versus Tableau. So don't get confused, or like you don't have to learn both. If you learn both, that's good, but then if you learn one, the skills are transferable. And Python, it's good to know, it sets you apart from the competition, because you it's easy to get promoted to data engineer or data scientist if you have Python knowledge. Or Python has like more than 100k libraries or packages. I mean, like, you can do everything that literally in Python. So it's always good to know, like, sets you apart from the competition. And coming to soft skills, it's not just about technical skills, but non-technical skills do matter in data analyst. As I mentioned, you need to present your insights and give some recommendations, tell a story on what's hidden in data. So that's where your communication skills come into play, and problem solving and critical thinking. You need to ask a lot of questions about your data. Why? That's always very important. So ability to frame the right questions, troubleshoot the issues, and approach challenges strategically. So all these things do matter, like technical skills, non-technical. Yep. And coming to building a portfolio, few projects I would recommend to get started are customer churn analysis, website traffic analysis, and superstores sales dashboard. You would have seen this in few of my LinkedIn post. So these are good projects to get started, and you do basic EDA analysis, data cleaning, and customer churn analysis. You would also build a machine learning model at the end, which is not required for data analyst, but then sometimes you might have to build out a small statistical model to improve the business. So few projects to get started, but I would recommend you to come up with your own projects. Let's say if you're interested in healthcare, try to find few projects or few data sets in your niche and go for it. Like, if you're interested in a particular sector, I would recommend you to gain some business knowledge or domain knowledge, and then find few data sets and get a problem statement and work on it. So how do we go about it? Same thing as I mentioned. First thing would be breaking down into three parts: project, defining your project, dealing with your data, and then communicating your results. So the first part is project definition. So define your objective of the project, or like a problem statement. So once you define it, gather your data. It can be like, for your portfolio, it can be web scraping, or you can get it from Kaggle, or there are a lot of university websites where you get data. So you can get a direct CSV or Excel file from there. So depending on the project and the amount of technical knowledge you have, it can be web scraping, Kaggle, or any place. And then comes the data handling part, where you explore the data, clean the data, transform the data, you analyze it, and then make plots out of it. So this is where you deal with data and find insights using different techniques. You can, if you're using Power BI or Tableau, you'll have some maps, I mean, like plots and everything. If you're using Python, you have matplotlib and seaborn packages, libraries to use, and you clean the data and prepare the data and make some plots out of it. And last but not least, here comes the toughest part for most people, because it involves non-technical skills also. You need to understand what's happening in data by looking at those graphs and looking at those uh, pivot tables that you have made. So interpret the results and come up with a story. And documentation, like, most people ignore it while building a portfolio or during the work. But let's say if you or someone in your company wants to understand project end to end, it might be difficult for them, or it might be difficult for you even if you look at your project after a few months. So having a solid documentation, is very important, be it any project. So starting from problem statement till the end, make sure you're documenting everything, and add a lot of comments, be it data cleaning, preparation, or plots. So make sure to add comments, so when you go back and look at your projects during your interviews, or while you want to expand your current project, you need to understand what you have done. So commenting during your codes or while plotting, and documenting the process from end to end is very important. And last few things, sharing and presentation. So if it's a personal project, just share it on your LinkedIn and then get feedback. There'll be a lot of people commenting on your posts saying, like, this is good, this is bad, you could improve here. So take feedback in a positive way and then work on it, and then iteration. So you get feedback and work on it, you get feedback and work on it. That's a process. And never forget to share your projects on LinkedIn, or having a personal website, or it can be a GitHub profile like you seen before slides. So have a place where you can store your projects and showcase them during your interviews, or if you are reaching out to someone via cold email or any by any means. So make sure to include your work there so that they'll know, okay, what he or she knows and what they're lacking, what they're good at. So uh, it's easy for the person to evaluate. So make sure to share with the world and let them know what you know, and then get feedback and work on the feedback.
Awesome. Yes, I hope you guys have been paying attention because Sai has gone through thousands of job applications and he has an interesting story. You can look it up on one of his podcasts, actually. And he's a perfect person to ask how to crack the first job post college. And why don't we get like relevant questions about that, actually, Sai?
Hmm.
I think this one would be interesting. So Nelson is asking, in a current job market, is it really difficult for a fresher to secure a job as a data analyst, even after having sufficient projects and skills, and how to stand out from the crowd? How did you do it, Sai? Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't lie, but it can be difficult in this market to secure a job as data analyst, but there are few things that you can do to stand out. One thing is sharing your knowledge regularly. So like to be honest, like these skills can be learned. You take a course, you join a community like Break Into Data where we have a webinars, or you join a boot camp, or you do a master's, or you join a bachelor's. These skills can be learned in few months. You can build a portfolio, but most people, what they where they go wrong is they don't share it with the world. Like you can know everything in the world, but then if you don't share it, no one's gonna know what you know. So start sharing your certifications, start sharing your projects on LinkedIn, start connecting with people on LinkedIn, and have informal calls and see where they go. So that's what sets you apart. So it's not just about what you know, but who you know and who knows you, that also matters in this 2024 or 2025. So like try to stand out as much as possible, increase your visibility by sharing your knowledge or projects, certifications, whatever you feel like in your niche.
Awesome. Great. Let's get going. I love that Karun is helping us answer questions in the chat. Everyone's like tagging Karun now. But leave some questions for the speakers, Karun.
Definitely, definitely. I'm just trying to get rid of the edge outlier questions like career gap and stuff like that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Lower
Thank you.
quartile ones.
Thank you so much. So let's head to the next slide.
Awesome. So yeah, coming to the, I guess, the most commonly asked question, which is how do I optimize my resume? So resume has a couple of different sections. So the initial section, the first section that most people like to keep is the career summary section. So what the career summary section, in my opinion, should be pretty short and to the point. It should address like three main questions, which is who you are, what is your core skill set, and what is sort of like a career highlight. So who you are, it can be to the point. For instance, a data analyst with 3 years of experience in driving decisions in supply chain. Could be as simple as that. One line to the point, who you are and the kind of experience you have had. Core skill set, you can mention your technical, a few technical um, tools or skill sets that you're really good in. For instance, skilled in Python, SQL, Tableau, statistical analysis, and collaborating across teams. So a few technical skill sets as well as a good soft skill set that you have that you feel that you're very good at. And finally, a career highlight, which is essentially the best project that suits the JD, the job description that you're applying for. So, for instance, something like when you write that particular career highlight, it should showcase the problem that you solved, the technical details of the solution, and the impact that you had by solving that problem. For instance, something like build a clustering model to segment customers and improve targeted marketing, thereby increasing GMV by percent, something like that, which shows like quantitative impact that you had on business. So again, don't forget these three things: who you are, your core skill set, and career highlight. Now, another common question that I get is, should you have a career summary? Yes or no? For me, I'm pretty 50-50 on this. Career summaries, I feel, help a recruiter really understand who you are. At the same time, I've seen a lot of hiring managers, if they get the resume, they typically skip over the career summary and go directly into your projects as well. So it really depends upon who you think is gonna see your resume first. If you have like a really good connect, connect in the company who's going to forward your resume to the HR. Maybe you don't want to waste, or maybe you can use that space you're going to give for career summary for another project. If you feel it's going to go to a recruiter first, having a career summary isn't something bad to have around. So it's 50-50. It's up to you. Go with your gut instinct at the end of the day. The next is writing bullets. This is sort of the part that I feel most folks maybe make a few errors in, especially with all the tailoring and personalizing and all the chat GPTing. The three things you need to make sure that's there in every bullet is: what customer problem did you solve, the details of the technical solution that you used to solve the problem, and the impact the solution had on business. So an example is like listed below. This was sort of a data analyst. When I was working as a data analyst back in the day, this was sort of my first project that bordered on data analytics and data science. So mapped application logs to a finite state machine and used Bayesian networks to identify root cause of application errors, reducing resolution time by X%. So resolution time is essentially the impact that it had directly on sort of the business, i.e. the SDs. Application errors is sort of the customer problem that we had, a tough time identifying application errors. And the technical details are there, which is the finite state machine or the Bayesian networks. It's pretty similar for data analysts or business analysts. Specify the technique that you're using, but whenever you use an analytical technique, you will have some kind of technique or procedure that you're following, like a segmentation analysis, longitudinal analysis. So mention that analysis so you can showcase you're an SME in the field. Mention the business problem. If you're doing some kind of marketing related, the word has to be there. It has to be very clear what business problem you are solving, and mention the impact you had. The closer you can get to the business impact, the better. Don't just limit it to something very vague, like you improved efficiency. Efficiency isn't a metric. Efficiency is a very broad domain. It has a lot of metrics underneath it. So make sure you use specific metrics and showcase how you improve business. All of this has to be in one bullet. Is it hard to write this bullet, and will it become too lengthy? The first time you do it, yes, it might become lengthy, but you can definitely, if you spend a bit of time, and over time the amount of time you spend in writing this will also reduce. If you spend a bit of time, you can definitely get it in such a way that it only takes 2 lines in your resume, not two separate lines separated by a full stop, but 2 lines in the page of your resume. And yeah, the other thing that typically I also recommend is make sure your bullets are atomic, in the sense that one bullet doesn't depend upon another bullet. This is because most HMs that I've worked with usually do this thing of skip reading. They don't really read your first bullet. They just read like one bullet in your resume and then sort of skip read here and there. So you can't really expect them to follow the same sequence that you might have written it. So it's okay to keep your bullets atomic. Now, another common question is, hey, if I have a project, I did a quite a lot of things, feature engineering, maybe like even if you're a data analyst, maybe you build a model and did some hyperparameter tuning, stuff like that. Or if as a data analyst, you did a lot of like SQL modeling, Tableau dashboarding, and a lot of statistical analysis. Let's say you did 3 of these things. How can I write all 3 things in a single bullet and keep it atomic? You don't need to. You can break it in a way that it's still atomic. Take all the data cleaning and maybe the feature engineering portion out of it and keep that as a bullet and mention how that added value, reduced manual hours, made the data set easier, stuff like that. Then do all the statistical analysis, mention that in a bullet and showcase how with that, which typically tends to be the maybe the core part, how that added value to the bullet. Then mention the dashboard and how that sort of was used by users and what kind of final impact it had. So that way you can still keep your bullets atomic. At the same time, follow this format, which we typically call the PSI, problem solution impact format. So that way you can make sure that you answer all the questions an HM has. And the questions HM has is, what has this person solved before? If he has solved problems similar to what my team is solving, I'm more likely to hire him. What tools has he used before? If he's familiar with tools and analytics that we are using in the team, I'm more likely to hire him. And what kind of impact has he had before? If uh, no hiring manager wants to hire somebody who hasn't had an impact in the teams they've worked before, because they're less likely to have impact now, right? So make sure you mention that impact as well. Moving to the next slide, optimizing resumes for ATS. ATS, again, this is based on my own experience. Recruiters I've worked with, they don't typically sort resumes by the ATS score. They usually just keep an ATS bar, and you just need to clear that ATS bar. And from there, they usually do read the resumes after that. Again, this my experience might be different in different companies. So to clear that ATS bar, what I found is the only thing you need to do is optimize your skill section. Typically in your resume, you're going to have the career summary, your education, maybe if you're just graduated, your experiences, and then towards the bottom, you're going to have a skill section. So within the skills section, typically there's a subsection. Sometimes some people call it tools and technologies. Some people like to call it competencies. You can call it anything you want. Within that, what you need to do is add the keywords that are relevant to the job description. So when you go through the JD, you will see a couple of keywords. Make sure those keywords are there in this competencies section, in addition to the tools and technologies you have. And again, obviously, make sure that the keywords are applicable to you. Like whatever technology you're going to be writing in the resume. So and make sure it matches as much as possible as is. Like if it's mentioning something like a regression analysis, and if you have linear regression on your resume, no, rewrite it as a regression analysis. You want to try and match it as much as possible. So that's typically the only kind of keyword based personalization or ATS based personalization I typically recommend to my resumes, to my mentees. It usually helps them clear the ATS bar typically. After that, do you still need to tailor your resume? In my opinion, tailoring your resume for every JD sort of drains you out really fast, and you sort of burn out in the job market a bit faster. And in the current noisy job market, you need to last for quite a bit to land a role. So what we want to do is we want to have strategies so that you don't burn out. So what you can do is, instead of tailoring your resume for every role, create themed resumes. For instance, have like a data analyst resume or a business analyst resume and a data science resume. Like if you're targeting multiple roles, create a resume for each of them. And like Sohan covered and Sai covered, what are the skill sets and projects that are apt, keep those projects in those resumes. And you can go that approach, or there is another approach which like for me, that's the approach I followed. I was targeting primary data science, but I split it based on business domain and technical expertise. I had a bit of knowledge in forecasting and bit in NLP. So I had a forecasting focused resume and an NLP focused resume. And in terms of business domain, I only had knowledge of e-commerce. So I had like an e-commerce focused resume. Then I had a resume that was a mix of everything. When I read a JD, I would take whichever resume was the most apt one. I would change the skill section to suit the JD based on whatever I knew and what was there in the JD. I would tailor just the skill section. This way, I could apply to both a decent quantity of roles while keeping the quality of my resume pretty good. And why I mention quality is because I often see when people personalize their resume, they make grammatical mistakes, they make spelling mistakes, and this comes off a bit weird when the recruiter is seeing it. Which is why if you do it this strategy, again, this strategy has worked for me and my mentees, which is why I'm mentioning. If you just take your themed resume and then just change the skill section based on the JD, whatever is applicable or whatever just add those in. You can save a lot of time, make sure you don't burn out as much. And again, if you have a career summary section in your resume, definitely change the career summary section as well, especially the final project that you have. Make sure that the project that you mentioned, is apt for the JD. And yeah, I think these are the key strategies for optimizing the resume. Maybe we can take a quick pause for some questions if there are any. And guys, feel free to like answer the questions in chat so that people, I mean, if any questions are there.
Yes, Varun. I'll leave it up to you for choosing your question for this one.
Cool. How can we add impact in project descriptions when we have done them from open data sets, being a fresher? Okay. So yeah, this is another thing wherein if you're doing personal projects, you don't have like a business facing impact. In that case, you can have, so in data science, what we do is develop a simple baseline model and you build a solution on top and you showcase how you improve on top of that. Similarly, in data analyst or business analyst, you can develop, you can keep a simple baseline solution, a non-statistical or non-dashboard based solution, and you can put forward your solution and how does your solution add value on top of the baseline. That's typically the approach that we recommend, so that you can show the kind of value that you can add with your sort of innovated solution. Any application or website to prepare ATS friendly resume apart from Overleaf? Um, Me
We'll
personally, I
talk
didn't
about it
use a,
soon.
yeah, me personally, I didn't use, but yeah, Sai has like a few recommendations towards the end that I think does really help. And What are the percentage of companies using ATS screening? I don't think there are any stats publicly available, but yeah, I do feel like a lot of companies nowadays do use it, especially because the market has gotten a bit noisy with a lot of AI tools and a lot of companies that sort of uh, do the application for you as well. So the skill section optimization, I think it's a simple thing that you can do. It takes maybe like 5 minutes for every JD, and I think it does help you clear the bar.
And how
Cool.
long a resume should be? Do you think it's always
Uh,
a page?
I don't think, I mean, one page isn't like a hard and fast rule. I just think you need to have relevant content that people can get to pretty fast. That's the only suggestion I have. One page is good, but no, it's not a hard and fast rule.
Great. Let's get going with LinkedIn now.
Cool. So the resume is just sort of 50% of your how you present your portfolio. The other 50% is sort of your LinkedIn. So how should you sort of optimize your LinkedIn so that a recruiters, maybe they find you a bit more easier, and B, and more importantly, when you ask people for referrals, they're more inclined to provide you a referral. So there are a couple of things that I think most people advise. One is your profile photo. Make sure you have a clear photo, your face in the picture, and your cover image. I really like you. These profile. A lot of people might know you. These actual names like Ritesh Jagani. So his cover page, I think, is like really well utilized because typically people just have a picture, but he sort of puts up front what his value add is. In this case, it's helping folks study abroad, but you as a data analyst or a business analyst, you can have like an equally similar or effective way of communicating the value that you bring to a company, like data analyst, experienced data analyst in supply chain, e-commerce, like something like that. A quick, direct message that people can see as soon as they land on your LinkedIn page. So this is like another creative way of using your cover image as well, and I definitely suggest using it. The next is your tagline. So tagline is sorry, previous slide, my bad. So the next is your tagline. So your tagline has to be fairly to the point. An example tagline that I like to use, or I like to recommend mentees use, is the role you're aiming for, what sort of like value add you bring to the company, your experience, and then your education. And if you have an X company, that. So business analyst leveraging data for actionable insight, 3+ years in retail supply chain, masters in, if you have like a master's degree, you can mention that X company, you can also have that. So that's a good format for a tagline, in my opinion. I've seen some folks put stuff like actively looking for. I think open to work acts in a sort of similar way. So I typically advise people, you don't need to explicitly write actively looking for. You can just write the role that you're aiming for directly in the tagline. Yeah, and that's sort of the most common, maybe like optimization that I recommend most folks make. Awesome. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah, the next is the open to work, a bit of a controversy, which is like some people feel that, okay, if I put open to work to everyone, it's gonna seem very desperate, and maybe people won't respond. So should I just put open to work just to recruiters or open to work to everyone? What should I go with? In my opinion, for me, what's worked is at the time I was looking for a job, I had like a fairly decent sized network, like around 5,000 to 7,000 people in my network. So I put open to network for everyone, which sort of acted for me sort of like a bad signal, because there were people in my network who messaged me saying that, hey, dude, I saw you're open to work. I can recommend you for a role in my company. So if you feel you have like a good network like that, where just because you have like a decent profile and you know a few people, maybe you have worked before, you know a few people might be able to help you land roles. You can't get their names on the top of your head. But if you put open to work, maybe some of those people who you've worked with before might reach out to you. Go ahead and put open to work for everyone for about the rough rule of thumb that I use is like 2 weeks. I put open to work for everyone for 2 weeks so that I get some messages. And then I switch back to open to work for recruiters. That's sort of my strategy. But I definitely like I have had folks reach out to me for referrals who had open to work for everyone open. I haven't felt it as sort of desperate because I understand as an international student you are on a sort of like a certain time bound. So I'm definitely open to referring everyone. So I don't really agree with that it comes off desperate, and I encourage my mentees to keep open to work for everyone open. And I also did it when I was looking for a job. But this is the sort of medium strategy or middle ground strategy that I recommend to everybody. At least keep open to work for everyone open for 2 weeks, and then switch to open to work to just recruiters, because somebody in your network might actually help you. If you are okay with it, keep open to work for everyone open when you're looking for a job. Then coming to the about section, the about section can be about like five-ish paragraphs. The first paragraph is typically the same as your career summary um, um, on your resume. So it's who you are, your core skill set, and one job. Probably in your LinkedIn, you can keep like a fairly generic job that might hit quite a few different roles that you're aiming for. And the second and third paragraph projects like we covered in PSI format, and the last paragraph towards the end, a passion statement. For me, it would be like, here to create an impact, hoping to influence the next generation of personalization AI products. Experiences, projects, volunteering, all of this, keep it in, make sure it's filled in. You can again use the PSI format that we discussed earlier. Skill section, again, we cover this in the guide a bit more in depth, in the sense that what should you add in your skill section. There is a website that is called LinkedIn GitHub Skills.io, where the top skills for DA and BA you can find. Make sure you add all of those in. Recommendations, try and get some from your peers, some from your professors as well. And finally, the most important one, job search in LinkedIn. Make sure you do this like roughly every, at least once a week, which is you search using a particular keyword, which is hiring, and you use the word and the role that you're looking for. And you can put in certain filters like the past week, who has posted in the past week, and you get this list of people who are looking for data analysts. So try and connect with these people, and what type of connection messages and everything we'll be covering in a bit. But this is a job search sort of like filtration that you should ideally be doing, ideally every 2 days, but at least once a week. And yeah, I think we can take a few questions if you have time, else we can go to the next slide.
Yeah, let's go to the next slide. But this
Mhm.
is a lot of information people need to digest. I hope you guys are taking screenshots. If not, this is going to be recorded, and all the resources that we're sharing today will be sent to your email after the end of this session. So let's get going with the next. Yeah. Oops. Sorry.
Okay. Now that you have a solid resume and then optimize LinkedIn, so you need to also have a solid network, because in 2024 the competition is not very low, it's too high. For one role you have 100 applicants in 5 minutes, or sometimes if it's a good company, and then you recruiters most times they see like hundreds of applications. So networking, that's where networking comes in. So it's not just about what you know, again, like who you know matters. So getting referrals is important, and not just referrals, but then the person who referred you needs to go an extra mile to connect you with the recruiter, or connect you with the hiring manager, or put in a good word with the hiring team. So at least you get rejected after they look at your resume, but not by without looking at your resume. So make sure that the person that you're connecting with goes an extra mile if possible, and like if they are not willing to do that, don't pressure them, but like give it a try and then get rejected, but don't reject yourself. So ask for it and then see where it goes. And typically if you're looking for a if you're on a time bomb and if you're an international student and if you're desperate for job, make sure to include the job ID and go to the point instead building relationship from scratch. Typically I would recommend you to build your network while you're not desperate for a job, but if you are desperate for a job, stick to the point, like let them know that you're looking for a job, this is the job ID, and how you would how your skill set is relevant to the job requirements. So keep it to the point if you're in a time bomb. And few ways to network: optimize your LinkedIn profile, connect with industry professionals. If you're in data analytics space, connect with data analysts, data scientists, like ML people. Connect with them, learn from their journeys, see what they have done, what in correct way, what they have done in the wrong way, so that you need not repeat, and learn from their journeys. Have informal calls with people in the industries. So like a lot of people are open to share their journeys and help out. You just have to reach out to them. And most times if you text 100 people, you're only getting reply from like max less than 10% of the times you get reply. And that's how it is. So I would look at it another way: to get replies from 10 people, you got to text for 100 people. So that's how I would see it. So make sure to have the positive mindset during your job search. It's gonna help you for sure. And another way to network is share content. When you share content, you get a lot of engagement on your post. And then what I do generally is, before getting into anyone's DMs, I give value by commenting on their post and then get into their DMs. So now that the person is obliged to reply you first should, because you're engaging with their content. So make sure to engage with their content if they're creating the content, or try to give value in any form or any sort of thing, and then get into the DMs. And conferences, meetups, and communities like Break Into Data, Build them, and there are a lot of communities. So make sure to join. There will be a lot of webinars happening, in-person events like conferences and career phase. If you are a university graduate, there are your university will be conducting career phase. Make sure to attend those. Have a solid resume. Work on your elevator pitch for 30 to 40 seconds, and make sure to talk about it. If you are going to event, don't just go for a job. Go also. I mean, I know that you are going for a job, but then don't show it desperately. So try to make connections or relations and then gather the context. So once you go home, make sure to send a follow-up message. And coming to follow-up, this is one of the skill that most people don't use it, even though they have. If you text a person and if you don't get reply, they leave it like that. But you need to follow up once, twice, thrice. And same with your cold emails. So you might not get a reply from your first text or first email. So make sure to follow up with anyone. Like if since it's our life and it's our requirement, we need to be person to follow up. So that's a very good skill to have. Even at work, you might not get replies for every emails sometimes, but you need to follow up on updates or same like this during your referrals or networking. Next slide. Yep. uh, we are living in the AI era right now. Like you would have seen that like there are a lot of tools. There's a lot of automation happening in every industry. So even in the job market, like in job search, there are a lot of tools to save your work. So some of those tools are that I used. Few of these I used, but then few of these have been released in the past few months, and those are amazing. First few tools are JobRite, Simplify, Career Flow, Teal, F1 Hire, JobScan. So I would recommend trying out these tools using their free trial, and these are paid tools for sure. I am putting it upfront, but these are worth spending your time, because a lot of times what happened during my job search was I did get an interview, but I didn't save the job description, and I went on to the website to look for job description, and then the role was removed from the website, and then I got rejected for the role because I didn't know what to prepare for. So that's when I started saving job descriptions. So tools like Career Flow and Simplify saves your job description. So when you get an interview, you go to the dashboard and then you see the job description. Now you know what hiring managers are expecting. You know what to prepare for. You'll be prepared in a better way. And JobRite also has a lot of openings in their job portal. So make sure to check out those. These also help you with making your resume better by checking your grammatical errors or suggesting like what else can be done. And F1 hire is used for international students. You will know if if the company is sponsoring or not. Same with job right, both of these have this special feature for international students, so they let you know if the company has sponsored previously or not, and what percent of those employees got the H1Bs, I think so. So check out these tools. Simplify also will automate your application, because you need to fill in same details again and again: your name, address, work experience, projects, skills, certifications, your portfolio. It takes 10-20 minutes to fill that application, but Simplify does that for you in 10 seconds, so with a tap on it. So make sure to save these tools, give them a try, take their free trials, see if it's really impacting your work. Only then proceed for paid versions of them. Yep. Next slide.
All right. Now, coming to the strategy, guys, I personally feel like this is one of the most important steps that can actually make or break your job search process. Personally, I've seen that people with more than 7 or 10 years of experience even were not able to grab a job after like applying for more than a year. And I've also seen, on the other hand, that people with just freshers or maybe 1 or 2 years of experience have cracked really good jobs, all thanks to the strategy that they followed. Personally, having applied to more than 3,000 jobs, and 10 years of a job search process, 10 months of a job search process, this is what motivated me to join LinkedIn and just keep sharing. So quickly breaking it down, the first step is obviously finding your target role or your industry. As we spoke about, like whether it could be a business analyst, data analyst, data engineer, maybe data scientist, ML engineer, whatever is your tool or your skill set that you are most comfortable with, that is defining your target role. And of course, like the industry could be e-commerce, healthcare, big tech, whatever you are fascinated by or interested in. So that's the first step, and obviously like a important one. The second step is setting weekly application goals. This personally helped me a lot while I was in my job process. Karun rightly mentioned that the job process quite be can be like quite tiring, and it could lead to burnout. So having like a weekly application goal, which was maybe like in the range of 50 to 100 applications depending upon what how you're applying. Yeah, that is something that really helped me maintain momentum in the in like the long run. And I've also included an example application tracker, where you can just go in Excel, Google Sheets, or maybe like a tool like Notion, and just on like one column you can have the application date. The second column could be the company that you're applying to, then job title that you've applied to, the status of the job, which would mean like have you just applied, are you in the interviewing stage, why you were rejected, why you given an offer. That could be the status. And finally, having a job description as well, it could actually help you in going back when you get an interview, preparing and seeing just like what are the skills and everything that's required for the role. So that's the weekly application goals I would highly recommend. Third is developing skills. This usually involves the portfolio that we discussed earlier. But what I found through my job search was like maybe taking some courses. I also saw like comments about asking what platforms to consider. Maybe go for data camp. There is also great platform called Data Quest. That could be one you can offer. And definitely, you have your lead code and HackerRank, like data lemur, so many others to practice your skills as well. And finally, Kaggle, and so many other open source data sources you can get from there. So those are the platforms that I would recommend that can really help you build your skills and get ready for that interview. The fourth part, of course, networking. You have your target role, you have been applying, you are developing your skills. Fourth part, a very important network with the people first who you have known for quite a while. Maybe they could be from your ex-employer, maybe someone who's very senior to you, or LinkedIn, of course. Network as much as possible. I can't emphasize the importance of networking for getting a job in 2024. It's only going to be increasing from here on. Lastly, in just into networking, I would highly recommend building a personal brand. That is really helpful in getting a job as well. How you can do that is just start sharing your journey on LinkedIn about how many applications you have put in, what the process has been. So that could be one thing. And lastly, this really helped me as well, is like setting milestones for success tracking. What that means is like maybe have a goal of getting just one interview each week, or maybe like networking with these number of people each week. That could be your milestone for success. That okay, you are actually doing great, you're doing everything that you can, and that's how you can go ahead with a job search. And lastly, guys, I'll just say that I can completely understand. Like I've seen people applying to more than 10,000 applications and still being rejected. The job process is a very long and very tiring one. But I would, from my own personal experience, I can only say that it will happen. I was applying for more than 7 or 8 months, not getting a lot of traction, and just within a couple of weeks, I got two offers. So it can just change any day. All you have to do is like keep applying, keep up the momentum, and join communities like breaking to data and build ML, so that you have someone who can actually keep supporting you in that process. But yeah, that would be my only message. It just keep at it and it will happen. Finally, just handing it over to Sai for the last slide.
Yep. So here comes the last slide. There are few things that you need to remember while you're in job search. Like first thing is not saving the resume used to apply. If you have a habit of, or if you have the time to tell your resumes, or if you have hundreds of versions on your laptop of your resume, so it might be difficult to, when you get a interview call, you, if you don't know which resume you have used for the application, it might be very difficult for you to prepare for the interview. So make sure to save your resume with a relevant name, or have a database of your own database where you uh, like Sohan mentioned, have a tracker with the, maybe add another column saying resume name, and then have the resume name field too, so you know which resume you have used. And not in the job description, as we mentioned, it's very important, because getting a call is very difficult in this job market, and then if you get the call and then if you don't have the job description, you would lose the interview. So make sure to give you your 101% when you do get the interview. Further, you need the job description for sure. So you can use tools like career flow, simplify, or maybe excel tracker if you're fine with it. So there are a lot of tools to automate saving job description. Never miss a job description. And interview prep, so I see a lot of job seekers make this mistake. Getting a call in this market is really tough, and then once you get a call, if you are unable to give your 100%, it's might be difficult to convert the call. So when you do get the call, make sure to give your 100%. So for that, a job description, like interview preparation, is not something like what we used to in bachelor's, like overnight preparation. We can't crack the interviews by doing a overnight prep. So make sure to dedicate 30 minutes, or 1 hour or 2 hours, depending on the time you have for preparing for interviews every day. So give mock interviews, prepare for interviews, learn, upskill yourself, or learn more about the tools in depth, so it sets you apart during your interviews. So learn as much as you can in your skill set, or learn new tools, or give mock interviews. Make sure to dedicate some time every day for your interview prep. So let's say recruiter calls you tomorrow and says that you have an interview with hiring manager day after tomorrow. You shouldn't be surprised, but you should be in a position to answer the questions, or at least be confident about the skills that you know and the knowledge you have. And applying up without customizing the resume, you need to avoid that. So as we discussed, have a solid resume for data analyst, business analyst, data scientist. But if it's your dream role, and then if you feel like you can do the work for sure, and if you're confident, maybe you can spend some time on tailoring your resume. But don't spend time on tailoring your resume for every job, because quality matters and then quantity also matters. It's not just either of them. Quality and quantity both are important, and for that you need to manage your time. So and sometimes it can be first come first serve also for some companies, so you need to balance everything. And neglecting network, so few people just mass apply and go for it. It might work, but then it might not work for everyone, so we need to try out different things and see what works for us. Everyone's luck is different, experience is different, knowledge is different, situations are different, like a location might be different. So there are a lot of factors that are not in our control, but they just happen for a reason or without a reason. So make sure to try out different things and see where it goes. And not following up after interviews, so that's a good skill to have. So sending a thank you note after interviews, it helps a lot. Like maybe in the thank you mail you can mention what you have discussed and or what sets you apart from the other candidate, or how you would solve the problem that the company is facing right now, or the team is facing, or the project that they're working. How would you tackle it if you were hired? You could mention all these things in your thank you email, and this also mention what you have discussed during your interviews and everything. So send a thank you email for sure, and then follow up with the interviewer, or like the person who interviewed if you have their email, or the recruiter once in 3 days. So following up is a very good skill to have, be it for your messages or cold emails or for interviews or for anything like that's happening in your life. Make sure to follow up with people, because people are busy. They might forget, they might ignore, there might be hundreds of other reasons, but since it's our life and it's our requirement to get a job, we need to follow up to make sure that they remember us. So make sure to follow up after interviews. Thank you. We are open for Q&A.
Awesome. This was a crazy amount of information that each of you guys shared. And I'm so grateful to have mentors like yourselves coming in and sharing your experience, because there's so many people, especially at this time, like even looking at the questions that we had today, people are struggling to break into the field, even though they are already having projects, amazing impact that they have shown. But there are so many little things that comes with experience, and hopefully today, if you haven't remembered everything, because there's been a lot of like tactical things and strategic things, then you should definitely come back and rewatch and check all the materials that we send you. So let's start the Q&A now and get the questions out, and we can ask our mentors. So let's see. If you guys want to choose, let me know too, so I can pop it up on the screen.
Sure. Maybe we can start from I guess like the initial question that we missed from Jesselyn. I think it's like a pretty good question. I found it very hard to get into fresher roles. So what would you suggest freshers to do? Yeah. I think maybe you guys can start, and like my perspective is a bit more DS oriented. So yeah.
So for freshers, what I would recommend is work on your projects, get a certification. And certifications, I've seen a lot of questions to do certifications matter. They do matter when you do a project out of it. So you need to learn from certifications by watching the videos, and what sets you apart is by doing the project out of it. That's what certifies you that you have learned something and then you have done something. So do those and share your knowledge, build a portfolio website. You don't have to build from scratch. There are tools that you can do. You can build one on Notion, there's card website, there's GitHub portfolio. You can like you can build a personal website or personal portfolio in like under 3 to 4 hours. So make sure to build portfolio, share your projects, seek feedback, have multiple iterations, connect with people, and reach out to people in the startups. I think startups are hiring with the rise in AI, and so there are a lot of new startups too. A good thing with startups is you can also always reach out to the founder directly, because like if you can't reach out to the founder of Google for sure, but then you can reach out to founder of startup for sure, because they have time to reply. But Sundar Pichai, like CEO, might not have the time to reply. But so find startups and reach out to them. So let them know what you bring onto the table, and then that you can solve their problems. They'll be more than happy to get into informal interview, which can convert to official interview.
Love that. What's the next question?
I think can we apply for multiple roles within the same organization? Yes, you can. I mean, as long as they're like related roles and you have, I mean, you adjust your resume accordingly. I wouldn't recommend applying for like a lot of roles. It again depends a bit on how the recruiting sort of like back end is set up. But like certain companies, if you get rejected for one role, other HMs can see that you were rejected, and sometimes that causes them to hesitate to provide you a callback for other roles. So make sure you apply for roles that you actually have a chance at getting in. And if you have a role that you have a really good chance at applying it, don't pair it with a role that you don't have a lot of chances of applying it. That would be like my recommendation. But yeah, what do you guys think?
It's the same response, I think so. Like if it's a big organization, there might be a lot of openings, but then make sure that you're applying to just relevant ones, so that you don't, like, the HMs, they don't want to think that this your you might not be the good fit. So like, make sure to apply for relevant roles.
Yeah, I think another question, what are the sectors in business analytics and data analytics one should give importance for the purpose of landing an interview? What do you guys think?
I think every sector has data for sure. So there are a lot of openings in most sectors. So unless you're interested in particular sector or industry, every industry and every sector has data, and there are like a lot of data analyst opening with uh, healthcare, finance, e-commerce. Like everyone has data, and then like that's what driving the world right now. So unless you have a niche you want to focus on, like, try to be build a diverse profile, and then be open to different sectors and industries.
Yes, let's take some of the recent questions too. So,
Does entry level DA jobs offer H1B sponsorship? Yeah, again, it depends on the company team, if they have immigration, or if immigration team, or if they have budget or not. So depends on multiple factors. But you do get entry level. I mean, I do get sponsored by my company, so it depends on the company team budget and other factors.
I really like this question. Like someone has asked in the chat that how can someone move from a non-technical role to a technical role? I personally feel that it is a transition which is highly possible. There obviously has to be multiple stages, but maybe if someone is facing that situation, just start by looking at the roles that you'd be interested in. Assuming the person asking this question, they have already figured that out. Could be role like business analyst, data scientist, data analyst, etc. The next step, as Sai rightly mentioned, should be like a beginner step. Should be doing courses. There are multiple platforms that can help you, do beginner friendly courses. Again, data camp, data quiz, so many others. The third one would be again building up portfolio. I would highly recommend checking out a free resource which is on YouTube from this guy called Alex the Analyst. Assuming that you would want to break into analytics, it's amazing. You really have to check it out. Has very cool projects, courses, everything. That would be my third step. Maybe after that, go for certifications. There are multiple certifications. You can just check them out depending upon your field. And lastly, apply for beginner friendly roles. Maybe do an internship in the role in the area that you are interested in. Post on LinkedIn. Maybe try to do a project for free for someone. Just like knock various doors, and someone will give you an opportunity. There's definitely many good people out there, and just by showcasing your interest, someone would be willing to help you. So I
yeah.
guess that would be the steps I would follow.
I love those because like I think it's most of the time usually I also receive some DMs where people say, "Hey, I have these data analytics skills or data engineering skills. It looks like you might need help with breaking into data, and I'm willing to do some projects with you for free just because I want to learn." And when I receive those messages, I'm like, "That is so cool, very proactive." And yes, you're right. I do need people who can help me build the some of the bots that we're doing for the community, or some of the like dashboards, even because we want to know some unique metrics or whatnot. So it's a great idea that you just shared. I think, yeah, people
Yeah,
underestimate
just
how many
to
people. Yeah.
add on that, LinkedIn also provide your LinkedIn data. You can download your LinkedIn data and then make a project out of it, so do check it out. And I think Insta and YouTube also provide. I mean, you might not have Insta, I mean, in YouTube, but then you do have LinkedIn for sure. So download your data, build a dashboard out of it, and share it, so you have your own data now.
That is so
Yep.
true.
Yep. And just adding to that, like having mentors and a community really helps. So Breaking Data is like a really good community that you can check out. There's like a ton of people there who are very supportive. So feel free. I mean, it's free to join. Check it out on Slack. And yeah, you can find a ton of mentors on TopMate as well, who can sort of help guide you to a certain extent on how to sort of get into roles that you're targeting.
Awesome. Okay, let's see. We
Uh,
have more questions coming in. Let's take a few more. We've been like almost like an hour and a half, which is the longest I think they've been. But let's take let's take a few more questions before we wrap this up.
uh, There was like a slightly side sort of question. What's most important for entry level roles? I think projects, certifications, or traditional degrees.
Mm,
Yeah, I know my answer, but yeah,
Agree with it.
I'll let you guys answer. Yeah.
so
Add
what was that?
visibility to it.
You were like, what was that?
I
It's
personally feel I right now traditional degrees, of course, like if you want to like go for something, definitely traditional degrees what everyone does. We did as well. But coming to 2024, moving into 2025, I personally don't think like spending thousands of dollars for a master's degree is like the most important thing. Maybe doing boot camps, maybe doing certifications, showcasing your portfolio. Uh, I think that is something which has more leverage than traditional degree nowadays.
Unless you want to move to a new country like us, then masters might be a good investment. But if you want to stay in your own country, like, go for boot camps or courses.
I
Yep,
love
yep,
that.
yeah, projects all day. Having like good projects is what's gonna help you land roles. It's gonna help you start conversations. Sharing projects is gonna give you sort of bring you more opportunities. Projects all day. Yeah.
I think like also another thing people really underestimate is like joining not just like communities. When we say like joining communities, it doesn't mean like you enter, you say hi, and that's it. By that, we mean like actually look into what other people are doing and what are the jobs actually like entail in terms of. I've seen so many interesting cases where people find like projects on Upwork or Fiverr, and that's how they build their initial portfolio, and they get paid at the same time. And I'm like, wow, this is so cool. And then eventually somebody can have a job, a full-time job, or refer them through their own network, and they land their job that way. So that's another unconventional way of like building a portfolio.
Yeah.
So
I
just
agree.
to add, like, visibility do matters too. So maybe you can get started right now. Take a screenshot and post about your learnings, feedback, and tag us. We'll be more than happy to engage with your post to increase your visibility. So just get started.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a great reminder, by the way. Everyone who has watched today's session, make 3 to 5 key findings, key learnings that you gained today, and share them on LinkedIn. Everyone, and you can even like share a link if somebody's gonna write one right now. Like they can share a link, and everyone else could like engage. So yeah, this is a place where you can connect with others. Text in the chat bot your LinkedIn links and connect with each other as well.
And believe me, like just for what we're talking about, post your key takeaways from the session. All the four of us over here are super active on LinkedIn, and like if that helps you to gain more visibility, that's the biggest win for us. So definitely open for that.
That is so true.
Yeah, yeah.
We're
And the
obsessed.
LinkedIn community is like a lot more friendlier than other social media company communities. So yeah, feel free to post, comment, repost, all of those stuff. Like how I started LinkedIn was just commenting and reposting like other creators' content because I didn't feel comfortable enough to write anything when I started out. So that's absolutely fine way of starting out and sort of building connections. So yeah, if that's how you want to start, that's a great way to start. The community is like very friendly, and yeah, I'm like a huge introvert, so I can definitely say it's one of the more open and accessible communities out there.
Mm.
That's true.
All right.
Uh, cool. I think we are almost at time. There was
I
like a
see
really
one
good
question,
question.
remember about timing of the job application. So there's never a right time, but if you're international students, make sure to start at least a semester before you graduate. If you're graduating in May, make sure to start at least in December so that you have enough time to get applications, like fill the applications, get some callbacks, get rejected, give interviews again, and then convert that offer. So give at least 4 to 6 months of time before you graduate. Don't start a month before your graduation date because you're on time bomb for sure. So make sure to work on your portfolio and network during your first few semesters. In the last semesters should only be just applying, reaching out to your network, and then just getting referrals, giving interviews.
I
Exactly.
completely just like quickly adding to that, I personally feel like the best time to start a job process was yesterday, and the reason I say that is because I started my job process like 10 months before I was graduating, and I was not maybe applying very early on, but what I was doing was like building my resume, learning from my seniors who were actually applying at that time, building projects and building a portfolio website. So just start as soon as possible. Like the biggest thing about that is like you learn from your failures. And as Sai rightly mentioned, if you are graduating next semester, maybe like 6 months before is the perfect timing. But start as soon as possible. It will really change your entire process in the end.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
There are like two peak hirings you don't want to miss out on. It's sort of August, September, October. Those 3 months, it's gonna be peak, and then Jan, Feb, March. So Jan, Feb, March is coming. Don't think that you'll start then. Make sure your resume is
Uh,
ready. You're connecting. Like, you have 100 connection requests you can send. That's the max you can send in a week. You can't get more even if you pay whatever amount to LinkedIn. So make sure you send those connection requests now every week to people who are likely to like respond back. Like, don't send it to like dead accounts on LinkedIn. Make sure they have some kind of activity before you send them a connection request. Like they made a comment at least like 1 month ago or something. So it takes time to send those connection requests. Make sure you send them out. Start today, and yeah, create having like some kind of visibility on LinkedIn. Like Mary mentioned, if you make a post about today's session with 3 takeaways and tag us, we'll definitely be willing to give you that initial boost for your account. We'll all engage. So yeah, start today definitely.
I think you got
Awesome.
application for from Breaking to Data, Mary. Are you currently hiring for a role at Breaking to Data?
I love this question. I actually am, but unfortunately, I'm not hiring for any data analytics or data science roles at the moment, just because we don't have data to work with, that much data. But stay in touch and still join because this is the first time we'll be launching like an exclusive platform and it will be hosted on Circle. I don't know if you guys heard, it's like a community platform where you can have all of the content, all of the different members that you can see, and you have your own portfolio and like profile where you can share what you're working on, and that way we can keep each other accountable. So we're going to have accountability calls, and I'm super excited actually now that I'm crafting this like program, like a long-term community type of engagement platform. And I'm excited because I've been learning how to do it for like a year, and I've been hosting these things for free for like a year and meeting amazing people like yourselves. So I feel like I'm finally ready to like give this like bundle of like tools and resources and people in one place. So I'm really, really excited for the launch. But we are limiting it to like 50 first people. And then I want to see how we make it like invite only so that only most motivated people can come in and contribute to the community. So this is going to be a lot of work, but it's exciting because we'll get to actually connect. Because LinkedIn is more of like a social platform and it's different. Like having an audience is different from having a community. So I'm excited. And Karun has an amazing community as well called Build ML. They talk about research papers, and if you guys are interested further transitioning to like data science or machine learning, then you should definitely check out. And yeah, Soha and Sai are always sharing tools and resources on LinkedIn. And I hope to have them on the community as frequently as we have them here now, too. So,
Absolutely.
Definitely,
yes.
definitely.
This is my favorite comment, guys. I love the main character energy of those. I feel like we have some Gen Z here. I don't know if it's like
I love that.
that is so true. Like you gotta watch their personal stories. It's truly inspiring. And actually, I want to have you guys on the podcast too, because I feel like the emotional journey, the struggles that you guys went through just to get a job in 2024, it's already worth like making a movie out of it. Honestly.
Yeah, as an international student.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, we all were once international students. Oh, it was a millennial. My bad.
That's
Awesome.
great.
Yeah, I think any closing thoughts, guys? Any some motivational?
So
I think there
it's
was
a
like a yeah a question that maybe sort of summarizes everything. Can you share your job search struggles before graduation, mistakes you made, how many jobs you applied to, and tips for staying motivated? Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I
Anyone
can
wants to go
go first.
first? Sure.
Yeah, my jobs journey, it wasn't easy. For sure it was difficult. So I applied to more than 1,000 roles. I was a fresher. My bachelor's was from electrical, and then my moved to data science to pursue my master's. I moved to states to pursue master's in data science. So it's a transition. Was a fresher, graduate in bad market, and so an international student, so needed sponsorship. So a lot of uh, constraints you see from my side, and then from employee side they need experience, so a lot of constraints. So applied to more than 1,000 roles, gave 10 plus interviews, and got rejected in final interviews thrice I remember, and then converted lead data analyst at Blue Cross Blue Shield. So it wasn't easy, but it was worthy. Coming to staying motivated, I'd be honest, first few months were difficult. There were times where I don't want to say, but then you need to stay motivated, talk with your parents, connect, stay with your friends, like talk with them, and don't overwhelm yourself. Like don't spend like you wake up, eat, and don't spend the complete day in just job application interview prep. So make sure to have some your time, like go for a walk for 20 to 30 minutes, or talk with your friends, watch a movie. Like what I used to do is had a second monitor. I used to play movie on second monitor, and then apply jobs on my main screen, just so to keep me motivated, and then just so that I don't get bored also. So try out different things and see where it goes. So it won't be easy, but it'll be worth it. You will be remembering this for lifelong. Getting your first job isn't that easy, but later on, once you get your experience, build your network, build your knowledge, industry knowledge, it's going to be a lot easier when you compare it with your first job. So like stay motivated, just wait for your one s, it'll come, but like keep trying. And then rejections are common. You will wake up with rejections, I'm pretty sure. But just like after a few days you'll get used to it, and you're like, okay, I got rejected, and then you'll be laughing at them. So just make sure that you're not taking those to your heart, and keep trying, and keep hustling, as UD says. And all the best, everyone.
I love this. Who
Tarun,
wants to
you want
share?
to go next?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Sure, sure. So for me, job search struggles, yeah. I was one of the COVID students. I came in 2019 pre-COVID, 2020 hit COVID, and suddenly everything went online. Uh, I still remember like our professor saying that, hey, you're gonna get interview calls and you'll need to fly out for on-site interviews. Make sure that it doesn't clash with your classes and everything. And then COVID hit, and everything became digital. So yeah, job search struggles was sort of initially we sort of had like some internships lined up, and when COVID hit, a lot of our offers sort of got rescinded, and yeah, it was sort of like a mad scramble. at the end trying to reland an internship. So that was like uh, pretty much the most stressful period of my life. Lost pretty much half my the hair on my head during that point. So yeah, um, uh, definitely a lot of struggle, a lot of rejection, but it's mostly like have a plan and stick to the plan. And my plan was primarily build a network. I think I have good projects because I'm getting callbacks. I just need to convert an interview. So I had like rules of thumbs. If I'm getting between like 6 to 8% callback rate. Okay, my projects are good. If not, I have to work on my projects. Okay, if I'm getting 6 to 8 callbacks for 100 applications I'm sending, okay, now I just need to land the interview, focus on the interview. So I just sort of had like these rules of thumbs, and I just stuck to the plan. And for me, what worked was completely emotionally distancing myself from the process. So I would just apply completely numb, and then as soon as it's over for like 1 hour of applications, then I would sort of feel stuff again. So, so yeah, but I still tell my mentees that hey, this is not a reflection about you. The rejections don't matter. The application process, you have to be emotionally distant from it. Otherwise, you will burn yourself out. Like because again, the rejections are mostly automated. I still remember I graduated. We were COVID batch. We didn't have a graduation immediately. We had a graduation like a year later. So I graduated. I was working at Amazon for a year, and I came back to college for my graduation day, and I got a rejection mail for a job I had applied like 1.5 years ago. They sent me the rejection mail 1.5 years later while I
Wow.
was while I came back for my graduation. So a lot of the companies, the rejections are just automated. When they decide to close the job, they just send out emails to everybody. So again, not a reflection about you personally. They might not even have seen your application. So don't take it personally. Be emotionally distant from the application process. Obviously, love what you do, but from the application process, be distant. And yeah, just stick to the plan. Have mentors, have a community, and yeah, that's basically what worked for me.
Just to
That's
add, I still get rejected for the jobs I applied in 2023.
Exactly, exactly. I wake up to mails. You're rejected, huh? I didn't even apply. Oh wait, it's from 3 years back.
That's horrible. But yeah, like beautiful stories from the both of you. Like yeah, again, just to answer the question, more than 3,000 job applications. Finally, like got some, I guess, 15, 20 interviews, and finally like grabbed 2 or 3 offers at the end. But just to summarize it, I was super excited coming as an international student in my 20s, and like wow, in the US and all of that. But frankly, that excitement turned into a nightmare as soon as the job process started, and I guess it's for everybody. So my message would be no matter how tough it is, because you're not alone in this. I still remember like in the middle of my job process speaking with my mom on calls, and just like not even able to convey what is going on, like what this tornado is, and but still keeping an happy face. I realize it's not just me, it's like all my friends, everybody that I see around myself, and that's what I would say, like you're not alone. It is terrible, it is hard, the rejections, I hate it. Just to keep it subtle, but in the end, it will happen for you. It just takes like 1 month, a couple of months for things to transform completely in your life, and it eventually happens. Just a closing thought. I came to the US in December 2021. Just a couple of days ago, I posted about my journey on that on LinkedIn, and I came in December 21. I haven't been home since. I am taking my flight tomorrow. It's been more than 3 years, and just wanna say that that journey, when I looked at the image before coming and finally my current picture, I was so grateful. I was so grateful that I am glad at all those challenges were put in front of me, all of those struggles, that heartbreak, all the drama and oof, whatnot. But my message would be like, no matter how hard it is right now, it is for a reason, and it will eventually make sense for you when you look back 3 years down the line, and you'll be grateful that you had the courage to go through it all. And if you're facing something, you definitely have the courage to face everything. So that's my message. You're not alone. All of us are in this together. Reach out to us on LinkedIn, join Breaking to Data, join Build ML, and we'll figure everything out together. So we've got this. Not just you, we've got this. That's
Oh my
that's my
God, I think I'm gonna cry now. You guys like really know how to put a person through emotional journey.
Ask international students about it. They'll tell you more. It's not easy.
So, and it's so crazy. And you have a flight tomorrow and you're gonna see your family. Everyone's like excited. And you said
yeah.
your mom was angry or something.
But it was all worth it, I hope.
No, this is awesome. Super exciting. So, see, guys, hard work pays off. Just put your head down and focus, and things are going to happen for you. So, meanwhile, though, don't get burnt out. And that's why community like ourselves have your back. And yeah, all the best to your job search. You got this. And if you do get a job, let's say that a few months down the line, please share with us on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
tag us, and if we contributed in any way and what exactly helped, because we always want to improve and help you guys better achieve your goals. So yeah,
All the
great.
best, everyone. It will be worth your wait. So just keep trying.
Awesome.
Definitely.
All
All the best,
right,
guys.
everyone, bye, thank
Bye,
you so much
guys.
Bye.
for
Good
joining.
night, good morning, like wherever you are, stay happy.
Yes.